What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is update day in Marvel Rivals. We've got 2 new playable characters, a bunch of hero balancing changes. We've got so many buffs and nerfs to talk about in today's video. I've got the official patch notes that leaked earlier in the week, but there were some differences, so we're going to go over the official changes. Make sure you guys like the video, consider subscribing if you're new, and let's check it out. So these are going to be all the hero balancing changes that came with the mid-season update. There's a lot of nuffs? There's a lot of buffs and a lot of nerfs, and your favorite hero probably got a change, so stick around till the end of the video to make sure you've got all the details on it. We're just going to go from top to bottom, starting with the Vanguards. First up, we've got Captain America, who saw a really good buff with this update. Steve will receive some enhanced survivability, the Vibranium Energy Saw will feel smoother, and the ultimate ability will be more attainable. He can now shield himself with the Living Legend mid-leap. They increased the Vibranium Energy Saw's projectile speed from 60 meters per second to 80 meters per second, with ricochets ramping up from 100 meters to a supercharged 150 meters, so that shield throw is way stronger. They reduced the energy cost of his ultimate, Freedom Charge, from 3100 to 2800, so he'll be ulting a lot more often. And Captain America's combat experience has been enhanced by separating Sentinel Strike from melee attacks. He can now punch and kick while throwing his shield or during the team-up ability. Additionally, while airborne, using melee attacks will no longer trigger the Super Soldier Slam, so that's going to be a separate function. Moving on to Doctor Strange, he's just got a small nerf. They reduced his base health from 650 to 600. Strange is very survivable, so that should help balance him out a little bit. Groot, on the other hand, gets a small buff. They increased the Thornlash wall placement range from 15 meters to 18 meters, so he can put that wall out a little bit further. Moving on to Magneto, he's getting an increase in his Iron Volley projectile damage, just a small buff from 35 to 40, but he's also getting a little bit of a nerf. They're increasing the Metallic Curtain's energy consumption from 50 per second to 65 per second, and they're also reducing the maximum duration to 1.5 seconds. So a bit of a buff, bit of a nerf from Magneto, all in all balanced. Next up, we've got Thor, who's getting a buff to his Awakening Rune. They're removing the shared cooldown time after the duration of Awakening Rune ends, so your abilities will no longer all go on cooldown like that. That's a great change. And lastly, we've got Venom for the Vanguards. The Symbiote Menace will enter the fray more menacingly than ever. They've adjusted the knockback effect of Frenzied Arrival from vertical to inward, with an inward knockback angle of 75 degrees. And they've reduced the energy cost of his ultimate from 2800 to 2500, so he should be ulting more often, just like Cap. That's it for the Vanguards. Moving on to our DPS. First up, we've got Black Widow. Natasha's combat effectiveness has been enhanced, which she really needed. They've increased the magazine capacity of the Red Room rifle from 8 to 15, so she gets a lot more shots. And they've enhanced the slow effect of her ultimate ability from 80% to 55%. Those are interesting values. I feel like the bigger number would be better, but additionally, it will apply a 15% vulnerability effect to hit enemies for 4 seconds, so I guess they're going to take 15% more damage. That's really good, actually. Good buff for Black Widow. I still think she could use more, but I digress. We're moving on to Hawkeye. They've increased his base health from 250 to 275, so he's a bit tankier. They reduced the projectile damage of Blast Arrow from 20 to 15, which kind of sucks. But the spell field damage will be increased from 25 to 32, so less direct damage, more area of effect damage. They've reduced the cooldown time for Crescent Slash from 15 to 12, so he'll be slashing that sword more. And they've increased the bow draw speed during the ultimate ability, and raised the damage multiplier from 1.2 to 1.35. Next, we have Hela, who just gets a small buff at longer ranges. The damage fall-off of Night Sword Thorn at 30 meters will be changed from 70% to 80%. Just a very small buff so she can hit just a tad harder at range. And then we've got Iron Man. They've increased the Unibeam's damage from 120 per second to 140 per second, which is huge. And they've also increased its damage during the Armor Overdrive form from 180 to 190. So that steady beam is going to be hitting way harder. Honestly, not sure he needed that, but it is what it is. Iron Fist mains, you guys probably got the best changes in this entire update. Iron Fist got a huge buff. So he's getting a damage nerf to all of his basic strikes. He's losing 2 or 1 damage per hit here and there, which sounds like a nerf, but each strike will now deliver an extra blow, which does damage equal to 1.7% of the opponent's maximum health. So if you're attacking tanks or anybody with a larger base health pool, you're actually going to be doing more damage. They've also increased the additional maximum health granted by his healing move from 50 to 150, so now he's going to be running around at 400 health, but there's going to be a side effect where that extra health decays over time. They're also increasing the maximum bonus health converted from damage blocked from 150 to 200, so even more bonus health for Iron Fist. And they've increased the base health from 250 to 300, so never mind. So he's going to be running around at 450 when he's got all that maxed out. Crazy buffs for Iron Fist. After that, we've got Magic. They've decreased the damage dealt by Demon's Rage from 80 per second to 72 per second. And they've also reduced the energy cost of the ultimate from 3,700 to 3,400. So a small nerf to the demon attack, slight buff to her ultimate. All in all, not bad for Magic. I've been playing her a lot more, so I like to see that. And then we have Spider-Man, who's just getting a very tiny buff. They're reducing the web cluster's recharge time from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds. The Man of Elastic, Mr. Fantastic, is getting some changes. They're increasing the spell field radius after landing from flexible elongation from 2.5 meters to 5 meters. Additionally, flexible elongation will now feature a knockback effect, launching enemies outward within the area upon landing. And the recharge time for a single use of it will be adjusted from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. They're also increasing the damage of his ultimate from 50 to 70 per hit, but they're also increasing the energy cost for it from 2,800 to 3,400, so he'll be hitting harder but using it less often. Additionally, a new damage decay mechanism has been introduced. Spell field damage will begin to decrease starting at 3 meters and will reach a maximum reduction of 50 at 10 meters. Overall, sounds like a nerf to Mr. Fantastic, but we'll have to see how it works in practice. After that, we have Moon Knight and Scarlet Witch. For Moon Knight, they're reducing the Hand of Khonshu's Talon's falling speed, so it sounds like the ultimate is going to come out a little bit slower, and they've corrected the damage trigger logic for the Hand of Khonshu. The previous mechanism that dealt 75 damage when positioned at the center of the spell field has been removed, and they're increasing the damage of each hit from 75 to 150. Wow, that is actually a massive buff. Okay, so Moon Knight's ultimate is cracked. Scarlet Witch, she gains an additional 100 bonus health upon activating her ultimate ability. After the ability ends, or if she gets interrupted, the bonus health will decay at a rate of 50 per second. Honestly, I'm not sure if that's going to help her much, especially since she can still get interrupted, but we'll have to see how it works out. Star-Lord is getting a pretty decent buff, just one item here. They're increasing the rocket propulsion's maximum energy from 1,200 to 1,800, which is actually really significant. He's going to be flying around a lot more now. And then lastly for the DPS, we've got Storm. The damage fall-off of Windblade at 30 meters is being changed from 70% to 60%, so she's hitting a little bit harder at range. They're reducing her damage increase from Thunder during weather control from 16% to 12%, so a slight nerf there. However, the damage increase for allies within range has been increased from 8% to 10%, so she's not hitting as hard, but her teammates compensate for that, I guess. And they're reducing her damage increase from Enhanced Thunder during weather control from 30% to 25%. Overall, sounds like a nerf to Storm, which I think she kind of needed, let's be real. Now we're moving on to the strategists. Our healers got some pretty significant changes. First up, we have Adam Warlock. Adam's damage capability is getting enhanced, along with a slight increase in healing after activating Soul Bond. They're increasing the damage of Quantum Magic from 55 to 60. Additionally, the damage fall-off at 40 meters is being changed from 50% to 60%. So this should make him a bit more close-range oriented instead of trying to snipe people from a distance. They're also increasing the healing amount provided by Soul Bond to linked allies from 10 per second to 15 per second, so good change to the healing there. Cloak and Dagger. Oh man, I feel for you Cloak and Dagger mains. You're not going to be too happy about this one. They've increased the energy cost for the ultimate from 3,400 to 4,000, so they're not going to be ulting as often as they used to be. But the healing amount of each segment is getting increased from 220 per second to 250, so it's going to be slightly more effective. But the duration is getting reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. And the pause time between segments is getting decreased from 1 second to 0.67 seconds. Additionally, the healing effect from each segment will no longer stack. When overlapping, only one healing effect is applied, so you're not going to get that stacked healing effect that we used to, which really sucks for Cloak and Dagger. But you also get camera control, which has now been unlocked during the activation of that ultimate, and they're also increasing the vulnerability inflicted on enemies by Terror Cape from 20% to 28%, which is pretty nice. Might encourage players to play Cloak a little bit more than Dagger, but that honestly really sucks for the ultimate. Next up, we've got Invisible Woman. They're increasing the energy cost of her ultimate ability from 4,000 to 4,300, so a little bit of a nerf there. Loki, they're increasing the energy cost of God of Mischief, his ultimate, from 3,400 to 4,000. Man, most of these support characters are getting nerfs to their ultimates. I guess they're just too good. And they're increasing mystical missile charges from 10 to 12. Nice, so he can actually shoot a little bit more. Lastly, Luna Snow, they're reducing, again, her ultimate ability's frequency. They've increased the energy cost to activate her ultimate from 4,000 to 4,500. Man, triple support meta? Is that still going to be a thing after all these nerfs? This is my first time going through the patch notes. I did not realize that the supports were getting this much of a nerf. That's actually crazy. You know, the meta might actually be 4 supports now, just to compensate for everything they lost. But hey, we're moving on to the last section in these patch notes, which is the team-up abilities. I'm very excited for this because with Human Torch and the Thing coming into the game, I really feel like team composition is coming together with all of these team-ups. I mean, we've got Human Torch and Storm doing their thing, we've got the Thing and Wolverine doing theirs. It's all just really coming together, and the team composition is maturing in this game, I feel like. But let's check out the changes here. First up, we've got Atlas Bond, which is for Luna Snow and not Shang-Chi, Iron Fist. I keep wanting to call him Shang-Chi. They've increased the healing amount from Frozen Chi from 50 to 75, and the slow effect on enemies from 20% to 30%. That's pretty good. Next up is Dimensional Shortcut, which is the one for Magic, Psylocke, and Black Panther. They've reduced the rewind time for both Psionic Disc and Wakandan Master from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Pretty significant, actually. They're almost cutting that rewind time in half. Additionally, the conversion ratio of lost health to blue armor will be increased from 0.5 to 0.8. So they're losing a bit of rewind time, but getting some extra bonus health. So a bit of a buff, bit of a nerf. All in all, a good balancing change. Gamma Charge. This one's going to hurt some Iron Man fans. They're reducing the damage capability of Gamma Overdrive and Hulk's benefits from the team-up, so both Hulk and Iron Man mains are crying. They're reducing the Unibeam damage in Gamma Overdrive from 220 per second to 200 per second, and they're reducing the Hulk's bonus health that he gets from this team-up from 150 to an even 100. This one's kind of interesting because Iron Man alone got that Unibeam buff to the base form, but in the Gamma Overdrive it's getting a bit of a nerf, so that's kind of interesting. You know, I thought Iron Fist got the best buffs with this update, but Moon Knight is not to be slept on either. His team-up ability with Cloak and Dagger is actually getting a buff. Full Moon's new effect is continuously healing Moon Knight for 25 health per second while he's within the effect area. So not only does he go invisible, but he's also healing his health while in that dome. So you can pull some pretty clutch plays in there. And the last change for the hero team-ups is for Symbiote Bond, for Penny Parker, Spider-Man, and Venom. It's getting both a buff and a nerf, and pretty significant in both areas. They're reducing the duration time of the ability. For Spider-Man, it's going down from 4 seconds to 1 second, which is insane. Penny Parker is only getting it for 2 seconds, but they're also replacing the 50% damage reduction effect with a new invincibility effect. So the ability doesn't last as long, but you're completely invulnerable while you do it, so a bit of a give and take. But guys, that is it for all the hero balancing changes in this mid-season update. If you guys missed my video going over the patch notes for everything else, all the new content, including the new map, the new heroes, and everything else that came with this Season 1.5 update, I'll have that linked not only in the description, but also in the top right corner. You can check that video out there. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed my coverage, be sure to give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more Marvel Rivals content. I'm loving making content on this game, man. It's kind of revitalized my love for YouTube, and I appreciate the fact that you guys like my content too. So shout out to you, shout out to Marvel Rivals and NetEase. Having a great time with this game. I hope you guys are enjoying the new characters, but that's going to be all for this video. Thank you for watching. This has been Star. Keep shining, baby.